Yes, I'm Alex, and thanks for checking out another video. I've had quite a few requests to break down an Alfa tune, man, and he's been on the list since the very beginning. But finally, one last request has given me that extra little push I needed to get around to doing it. So out to HRG 2000 for your request. Today, we're going to be breaking down the track Door. We got Peter Adam Hill on drums, and interestingly enough, Peter Adam Hill was actually a drum teacher on a jazz course in my local college a few years back, and he actually started working there after I'd already left and eventually moved to London. So although I didn't manage to get any lessons with him, I did have the opportunity to see him live a few times, and as you'd imagine, he absolutely rips, man. The track is in 3/4 time, 1 E under, 2 E under, 3 E under. It's 127 BPM. Let's have a quick listen and then we'll break down what's going on. What a banger, mate. So we're going to focus mostly on the B section or the chorus of the track, and we'll talk about some different variations and some of the concepts being used. But just in case you do want to go and learn the whole song, maybe do a little drum cover, let's also do a quick breakdown of the A section. So nice and simple, it's just a 2-bar phrase. We're going to play eighth notes up on the ride cymbal with our right stick and our left stick in that cross stick position. So really, in the second half of the bar, we're just going to fill in the missing 16th notes with our cross stick. So in bar 1, that would be the of beat 2, the E and the beat 3. And then in the second bar, we're actually going to play our cross stick on beat 2, and then we're just going to fill in the missing 16th notes on the of beat 2 and the E of beat 3. And then we're going to drop some bass drums in there. In the first bar, on beat 1, 1 and beat 2. In the second bar, just on beat 1 and 1 and. Altogether, it's going to be counted 1 and 2 and a 3 E and a 1 and 2 and a 3 E and. Jump onto your kit and let's see if we can play through at half speed and then at full speed. Sick. So if you've got that down, let's move into the B section. And one thing to note here is that we're working with a 9-bar form. Now this is easy enough to keep track of when you're playing along with the tune because you'll hear where the chord progression resolves, but it's worth keeping in the back of your mind as you start to piece together some of the ideas that we're going to start to look at. So I've notated out the first pass around the chorus, so 9 bars in total. And what you'll find is that the concepts we're about to look at are consistent throughout the rest of the tune. But of course, you want to start to improvise with these. So a little bit later on, we'll look at some variations and some different things that Peter Adam Hill plays. But for now, let's break down some of the individual bars in our structure. So to get things going, you're still going to be playing 8th notes up on the ride, and we're just going to add in 1 extra note with your right stick on the of beat 1. You're going to bring your left stick from that cross stick position back onto the main part of the snare drum, and you're going to play your snare on beat 2 and the of beat 2. We're going to play our bass drum on the E of beat 3, and then we're going to start off our bar with one of 2 different bass drum patterns. The first option is to play our bass drum on the first 2 8th notes, beat 1 and the and of beat 1. So let's have a little listen to our groove at half speed and then at full speed. And option 2 is just to push our second bass drum over by a 16th note. So now we're playing our bass drums on beat 1 and the of beat 1. Cool, so if you've got those grooves down, all we're going to do is listen to the same 2 examples, but we're going to add in an extra bass drum on the last 16th note of the bar. So what I'll do is I'll play 4 bars where we start off with our bass drum on beat 1 and the and of beat 1, and then I'll play 4 bars where we start off with our bass drum on beat 1 and the of beat 1, just so you can hear these 2 different examples with that extra bass drum at the end. So before we piece it together, you might have seen that in the 9th bar, we've got a little fill. So really nice and simple, we're just going to play 4 singles, right, left, and the orchestration is going to be ride, snare, snare, snare. So let's have a little listen, and then we'll see if we can put it all into context. So there is a cheeky little double stroke at the end of the 5th bar, but that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'll let you have a little listen to that in context. But these are the concepts that make up the first 9 bars of the chorus. Let's have a little listen. Cool, so in a second, we're going to have a look at some different variations and some different ways that we can approach playing these grooves. But just before we do that, something else that I tried out was to fill in any gaps in the groove with ghost notes on the snare drum in my left hand. Now you don't have to do this, but it gives you a slightly different approach with a slightly different feel. So let's jump onto the kit and have a little listen so that you can hear the difference. Okay, sick. So in my opinion, this is the important part. So yes, Peter Adam Hill did play those 9 bars in the track, but I would bet money that he doesn't play it in the exact same way every single time. So as far as I'm concerned, unless you want to go and play a drum cover and play the song note for note, which is totally cool if you do want to go and do that, it's going to be way more beneficial to pull out the concepts and learn from the ideas that Peter Adam Hill plays, rather than trying to play it the exact same way every single time. So with that in mind, let's start to look at a few different variations that crop up throughout the track so that we can start to improvise with them. And for now, just for consistency, I'll play the same bass drum pattern every single time. So bass drums on beat 1, 1 and the E of beat 3. So the first variation we're going to look at, we're going to swap the very last ride cymbal of the bar for 2 16th notes, both played on the floor tom with the sticking right left. Let's have a listen to how it sounds in context. I'm going to play a bar of groove and then a bar with our fill at the end. The second variation, we're going to take those same 2 notes that we moved down to the floor tom and move them over to the snare drum, and then we're just going to turn them into 2 double strokes, right, left. Now these are phrased as 30-second notes, so they're pretty fast, man. Jump onto your kit and let's give it a go. This next variation comes in at the beginning of the bar, and you're just going to play 2 notes on the snare drum on beat 1 and the E of beat 1, right, left. It's a simple idea, but it sounds super sick, man. Let's give it a go. And finally, it's quite hard to hear whether Peter Adam Hill is playing his left foot in the track, but you could experiment with keeping different rhythms with your hi-hat foot to either enhance or change up the feel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a short improvisation using the different variations and concepts that we've looked at today, and I'll keep my left foot going on a quarter note pulse. And remember that we're playing to a 9-bar form, so this is worth keeping in mind as you start to improvise. I'll keep a little bar counter somewhere on the screen. kick, my dude, so experiment with the concepts that we've looked at today, have a listen to the tune and see what else you can pick out, and above all else, see if you can make it your own. If this lesson's helped and you do go and upload a video of you playing any of the grooves, I would love to see it, man. You can tag me up on Instagram at DrumHubTuition. But that's all I got for you today. If you're digging the videos, hit the button to join the Wednesday crew, man, and feel free to leave a track recommendation for the Drum Hub Jukebox playlist down in the comments below. I'll see you next week.